Say hello to the brand new Cannondale Synapse, all new for 2018. So if you're not really into your racing, but you still want a lightweight and stiff, responsive road bike, then endurance and sporty bikes like this new Synapse are a really good pick. They offer more comfort than traditional race bikes, and I talk about comfort in two key ways. They're both the frame isolating you from rough roads and the geometry providing a more comfortable fit than a race bike. The new Synapse is a good example of the endurance and sporty category, and the bike has really matured since its first launch a few years ago. So for 2018, it's an all new bike, but to be honest, looking at the bike, you wouldn't really tell it from last year's bike. It looks almost the same. That's because they kept the same design silhouette as the previous model, and that's no bad thing in my book. It's a good looking bike before, and it's still a good looking bike. It's a bit like Porsche with their 911. It hasn't really changed much in its 40 years or so. They've kind of refined it and tweaked it a little bit, but they kept the same sort of basic shape outline as the previous model, and just kind of made improvements where they can without sacrificing that core appeal of the product in the first place. But although it looks the same as last year's bike, they've made a load of changes underneath the paintwork. First and foremost, it's much lighter than previously. It's now 950 grams for size 56. They've increased the head tube stiffness and pushed it much closer to the Super 6 Evo in terms of that front end stiffness to really sharpen up the handling and responses. They've improved tyre clearance. These are 28mm tyres, which a previous bike would take, but you can now fit up to a 32mm tyre, and there are mudguard mounts on this bike now. So the previous carbon Synapse didn't have mudguard mounts, the new one does, and that makes it one of the few carbon endurance bikes in 2018 that you can fit mudguards to. Now mudguards might not be a deal breaker for you, but in the UK mudguards are really popular just because it rains a lot and they do keep you a lot drier when you're riding in mucky weather. The Save technology from the previous Synapse is retained in the new bike, but they've refined it. So Save is all about introducing areas in the carbon frame where the frame can just bend a little bit to provide a bit of deflection when you're riding over rough roads. And you can see that particularly in the shaping of the chainstays, the really flat seat stays, and the fork blades as well. There's also the skinny 25.4mm seat post. That's the same as before, but they've also changed the shape and mould of the top section. There are some other minor but still important changes. So the new bike is all about disc brakes and through axles. There's no rim brake version anymore, and they're using a now common 12mm through axle and flat mount disc brakes. And the hoses are internally routed inside the fork and the frame for some very clean lines. Also internally routed are the wiring and cables for whatever groups that you're using. So this bike got Di2, and there's a neat junction box port in the down tube. So you can access the junction box, make adjustments to the gears much easier, and it looks nicer than having it attached to the stem, which has been a commonplace for the last few years. We're seeing quite a few brands go to that down tube position for the junction box, and it just provides cleaner looks, and it's just a good trend really. It's one of the trends that I'm quite keen on seeing in the road bike market this year. In typical Cannondale fashion, there's a wide range of bikes. At the top there's the high mod, the frame using a high modulus carbon fibre for a bit of lower weight and higher stiffness, and below them there's a standard carbon frame which doesn't use a high mod. It should be noted that that standard frame is lighter than the last high mod frame, so they made real improvements even to the standard frame. And I've ridden the standard frame and it is a really good choice, and it isn't really a poor substitute to the high mod version if you can't afford that model. This bike here is the top of range high mod frame with a nearly full Shimano Dura-Race Di2 group set with Cannondale's own super lightweight SI SL2 crankset with the neat spider rings, compact configuration, so 50-34 and an 1130 on the back. The new Dura-Race will take an 1130 cassette as well, so it really shows that Shimano is gearing the group set towards more enthusiast cyclists as well as the racing cyclists that the group set was originally designed for when it first came out a few years ago. Production bikes will have the correct new Dura-Race Di2 levers. These are the older previous generation non-series ones, but I do have the brand new funky looking disc rotors which are designed to improve cooling and just reduce heat build-up, especially when you're dragging the brakes on a long mountain descent. Now you might have seen my article from the launch event in Italy where I rode this bike the first time, and they had a new System Save carbon fibre handlebar, so a two-piece design that looks like a one-piece with an aerodynamic top section designed to provide more deflection to really help smooth up bumps coming through the front wheel. They've had a few production issues with that handlebar, so they basically skipped it for a year. So it will reappear in 2019, but for 2018 they switched to regular handlebars, and this top of the range bike gets an MV handlebar and stem, so not a bad substitute really. It'd be nice to see the system save bar back next year, but until then MV handlebar and stem will have to do, and it does quite nicely. Very nice kit, well proven. And lastly, the bike is rolling on Cannondale's own hologram SL wheels. So hologram's the name they use for their cranksets, but now using it for their own carbon fibre wheels. A bit like Specialized with Roval, Trek with Bontrager and so on. Most big bike brands have their own component brands for finishing kit and wheels. And we're really seeing these high-end brands produce their own carbon fibre wheels now. And I've been really impressed with these hologram wheels. They're tubeless ready, a nice wide profile, they're good in crosswinds, very aerodynamic in a straight line, and should work really well. The hubs are rolling on DT Swiss internals, so they're really reliable and proven bearings, so there shouldn't be any problems in terms of durability. When I spoke to Cannondale at the launch last year, they said they really sweated the details on the bike and really looked at every part of the bike to provide the best performance. In particular, they really spent a lot of time testing different tyres and different brands to find the right tyre that they felt offered the right performance benefits that they're looking for. And they settled on the brand new Fiatura Corsa tyres. The Fiatura really enjoying a resurgence at the moment. They've got these new graphene infused tyres, first company to use graphene in a tyre, and they reckon it offers benefits in terms of rolling resistance and wet weather performance and punch resistance, and they also look cool. They're not tubeless compatible though, which is a shame because the rims are tubeless compatible, and I think a bike like this really deserves a tubeless setup for that sort of kind of long distance, long ride reliability. One other detail I haven't mentioned is the fabric saddle. So we're finding a lot more fabric saddles across the Cannondale range, and that's no bad thing in my book. Really comfortable saddle, nice shape, nicely padded, very durable, good clean appearance, and nice carbon fibre rail to save a bit of weight. If you're thinking, yeah, nice bike, but it's massively expensive, and at £7,500 this bike is very expensive, but it's a showcase for Cannondale's new platform, and it's all the best equipment on the best frame. The Cannondale Synapse range is huge though. No loads of options if your budget is more modest than the £7,500 this bike is asking for. One of my picks of the range looks like being the Ultegra SE model. I'll show a picture of it above. I think it's a really good looking bike. Nice paint job, nice mix of components. It's got a standard carbon frame with an Ultegra group set, nice tyre choice. I think that looks like being a cracking bike in the range. So as you can see, there are plenty of options depending on your budget and the sort of bike you want. So what's it like to ride then? Well, I've had this bike for the last 4 to 6 weeks. I've ridden it a lot. I also got to ride it at the worldwide launch in Lake Como last year, not sure if I mentioned that. So I spent quite a lot of time on the new bike. I spent a lot of time on the previous model as well, so I've really got something to compare it against. I've also ridden a lot of other endurance bikes in the market, like the Trek Demane, the Specialized Roubaix, the Giant Defy, Canyon Enduro Race. So I've got some idea of where the bike fits in. What's clear in the endurance and sporty bike market is a real maturity in the bikes that we're seeing, and different approaches to providing the smooth ride that customers seek in these sort of bikes. So we've got Specialized with a Future Shock with a spring underneath the stem, the Trek with the Ice Speed, which allows adjustable deflection at the saddle, and there's companies like Cannondale and Canyon and Giant who have gone for a simpler solution, using the carbon fibre layup and the shape of the tubes and increased tyre clearance and seat post design to provide a smoother ride. So you've got a simpler solution, but still trying to achieve the same goal of providing a smooth ride. The comfort of the bike is incredill. These 28mm tyres really offer a lot of cushioning. I inflate them to about 65-70 psi from body weight, and they provide a really smooth ride. But it's the seat post and the saddle design that really offers maximum comfort at the saddle. You can really see the saddle moving between your legs when you're riding. It's quite uncanny at first, but it really helps to soak up a lot of the vibrations, the impacts come through the back of the frame and into the saddle. Front end comfort is improved as well. Front end comfort is really good, and it's right up there with other endurance bikes in this category. One of the key attributes I really like in the new Synapse is it's a much sportier riding bike. They've increased the front end stiffness, they've lowered the weight, and they've drawn it closer in terms of performance to a Super 6 Evo, one of my favourite race bikes, one of the outstanding classics in the road bike market at the moment. But for long distances, it's probably not the most suitable choice. In changing and evolving the new Synapse towards the Super 6 in terms of stiffness and performance, but yet retaining the key comfort attributes of this bike, you've got a bike that kind of straddles that ability to be able to offer long distance comfort, but also that sportiness that a Super 6 Evo rides. So So a bike that really relishes in being ridden hard and fast, and it's really responsive, and you can fit bigger tyres, so plenty more traction, and you really make the most of the disc brakes with the bigger tyres. One of my bugbears on some endurance bikes is they can be quite high at the front, and you lose that racy, aggressive position, which is fine if you want a nice upright position, but if you still want to engage in riding fast and getting your head down, the Synapse is a bike that allows you to do that. You get quite low at the front, but quite a low stack height compared to a lot of endurance bikes on the market. The ability of the new Cannondale Synapse to balance the kind of speed and performance of a race bike, but with the comfort of a long distance endurance bike, is really remarkable. It's a really talented bike. If you're riding in the mountains, doing Grand Fondos and Sporties and want maximum comfort, but low weight and a wide gearing range, the Synapse ticks that box. But if you're a racing cyclist or a retired racing cyclist and you still want that performance and stiffness and responsiveness of a race bike, but you want to dial back a bit with a bit more comfort, the Synapse again ticks that box. So it really does tick a lot of boxes, to coin overused phrase. It just does everything really well, and you can fit mud guards, and those attributes really make the Synapse a hugely talented bike, and I think it's one of the best bikes in the endurance category at the moment. There are some really good bikes in the category, and you can really pick a bike that suits your particular riding style and the roads you're riding on and what you really want to get out of cycling. But if you want a bike that's both fast, light and comfortable, there are a few as good as the new Cannondale Synapse. And I urge you to take a closer look if you are in the market for an endurance bike, because you'll be missing out if you don't at least consider the new Cannondale Synapse. So that's been a real world review of a brand new Cannondale Synapse and my first riding impressions on the bike. If you've got any questions about the bike, do ask them in the comment section below. I'll be only too happy to answer them. If you enjoyed watching this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well so you don't miss any of my future videos. And as ever, thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time.